Have you ever made yourself almost cry? Well, in today's episode of Dementia Caregiving for Families, where we talk about 50 easy activities for people with severe Alzheimer's and dementia, I actually almost made myself cry. So you'll have to check out the episode and listen all the way to the end because I have a special Memorial Day flash sale for you on a mini course related to activities and activity participation or engagement. So go ahead and check it out and watch me try to get myself back under control. Have you recently found out someone you love has dementia? Struggling to wrap your head around how to be a Christian caregiver? Searching for answers by joining countless Facebook groups but find them toxic? Learning how to cope with dementia feels difficult, but learning a Christian caregiving worldview can be easy. Hey, brother and sister in Christ, I'm Lizette, occupational therapist, pastor's wife turned dementia coach, and a daughter of dementia. In this podcast, you will learn the truth that the way to make dementia care easy is your faith. Knowing that a loving God has decreed this hard providence in your life makes all the difference. Here you will gain skills. You will be challenged by what God says in His Word about caregiving, and you will learn exactly what dementia is and is not. Find clarity and certainty from God's Word so you have perseverance for this journey. Use science-backed solutions and biblical principles to redeem your time. Praying this blesses you as we dive into dementia from a Christian perspective. Let's glorify God despite dementia. Well, welcome back to the third of a three-part series for Memorial Day for 50 easy activities for people living with Alzheimer's and dementia. And today's episode is about severe dementia, how to engage people living with moderately to severe dementia in activities so that you can still make connections, have meaningful memories, and enjoy this kickoff to the summer season at the Memorial Day weekend. And as all three of these episodes have built on one another, I would encourage you, if you haven't listened to episode 119, which is mild dementia, 120, which is moderate dementia, and then today's episode, which is on severe dementia, I recommend that you hop into this series and listen to all three of them because they build on each other related to how we look at engaging people living with dementia in meaningful activities. And all four of the episodes have followed the exact same format, which is the first thing we're looking at is understanding what severe dementia is and is not, how to engage people with severe dementia in meaningful activities. We're going to look at how to minimize the symptoms of dementia through activity engagement. And then we're going to talk yet again about how to travel and how to travel well this Memorial Day, even with a person with severe dementia. And I've referenced this several times in the series. You've got to listen to episode 98, where I talked to Kathy Schoaf-Spear about traveling and cruising with a person living with dementia. So go check out that episode. It really was life-altering for me to be a part of the staff on a dementia-supported cruise. I never thought it would have such an impact on me, but it radically changed my life. And as a 30-year veteran in working with people living with dementia, I don't say that lightly. I really want you to travel and make memories with the people that you love and support who are living with dementia. But enough about that. let's hop into this last episode, or this last of this series, part 3 of how to engage somebody living with dementia that has severe dementia in meaningful activities. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking to themselves, well, they can't do anything. There's nothing that they're not able to engage in meaningful activities anymore. And I want to break that illusion for you. I want you to really take that thought and let's reframe it. Instead of looking at what the person isn't able to do, let's look at what they still are able to do. What we, the fancy word, is called their retained, or the abilities that they still have. And so let's start with understanding severe dementia. In all 3 episodes, I've spoken to everybody about imagining dementia stages, not the 7 stages, but the 3 different stages of dementia: mild, moderate, and severe dementia, kind of like a bucket. And so bucket number 1 was a person living with mild dementia that can still really be pretty independent. They need a person around them, watching them, making sure that they're still safe, making good decisions. But their quality is still pretty good. They can still sequence themselves through all of their activities. They're just starting to make mistakes, and other people are starting to notice these changes. A person with moderate dementia in the middle bucket is where I want you to think about them as needing supplemental support, a person coming alongside them and not taking things away from them, but supporting them and enabling them to still do the activities that they can. So we walk alongside them and we support them and facilitate independence by being their quality control, by helping them sequence things that are too hard for them to sequence. But we don't take things away from them. We try to make the activity adapted to what they're able to do. And then the last stage in a dementia caregiving journey is when a person has severe dementia. And this is the stage of dementia that is, for a lot of people, a lot harder, and quite rightfully so, because this is where both the unseen physical changes are now starting to become seen physical changes. Throughout the whole process, we have the changes in the brain, right? The brain is literally rewired. The wiring has gone awry. It is not working the way it did. The connections are legitimately not going through. It's not that this person is doing the stuff on purpose. Their brain is changing. The analogy that I like to use is, we know, and when we can see a physical deficit, a physical impairment, like an amputation or a stroke or something else that's physically manifesting, we know that there's something not there anymore in the case of an amputee. And so we wouldn't expect somebody who is an amputee to get up and walk without their prosthetic leg on. We can recognize there's a deficit. We can recognize there's a problem. The problem with a broken brain is that you cannot see these changes. You just see the impact of these changes in the brain. Well, when we get to the 3rd bucket in a dementia caregiving journey, when a person has severe dementia, this is where some of those physical changes start to come in. The brain is changing, and now the body is changing along with that as the brain is changing. So the person might be falling more, or they may slowly start to be losing weight. And this person is requiring physical assistance for most of the things that they've always been able to do. They need your help to get dressed. They need your help to go to the restroom. They need your help to safely walk across the street. They need your help to get food on the table, to take their medication. We have become the person that is physically providing that level of assistance. They may need help to be guided to the bathroom because they may not be able to find their way to the bathroom anymore. So this is the confluence of where the physical changes and the thinking process changes come together in this last stage of severe dementia, in this bucket. But what I want you to remember or consider is that that person still has abilities. There are still things that they can do. We just have to consider that those things are different. We're not going to expect them to make a 7-course meal anymore, but maybe I can take my person to the kitchen and have them crack an egg and see the result of the cracked egg. Or I could give them a piece of paper. They make these wonderful art pieces of paper now where with water you can literally draw a beautiful painting with just water. So it's cause and effect. But they have these retained abilities that they still are able to do. Their physicality has changed. Their ability to focus on an activity is extremely short. It may be 1 to 3 minutes. It definitely isn't going to be an hour. And it's probably not even going to be 5 minutes. But if we can engage them for 2 minutes, for 1 or 2 minutes in a meaningful connection, then we have connected with somebody that we love. I'll never forget recently, I went to one of my clients' house, and his wife has moderately severe dementia, and she has a lot of difficulty with speaking. And one of the things that I always do, even though I don't have a terribly good singing voice when I'm singing by myself, but what I love to do, because music is highly retained in our brain, it's in a different part of our brain, and rhythm and music and those kind of connections we can make with a person. And we sat on the couch together, and her daughter-in-law was there, and the two of us, her daughter-in-law has a beautiful singing voice. The two of us started to sing Amazing Grace with her. And even though she isn't able to really speak anymore, she has difficulty with her word finding and aphasia. By the second verse or the third verse of Amazing Grace, she was definitely singing with us. It wasn't the same words, but the melody was there, and she smiled, and we made a connection. And so I just want us to really, really be encouraged to still make these meaningful connections with people who have moderately to severe dementia. Another another great example I have is another one of my community members. Recently, we had them over for lunch. I have several clients in my geographic region. I work with clients all over the world, but the ones that live in my geographic region of Greenville, South Carolina, I do make a point to meet them and to meet their family members and to really support them through this journey. And they came over to my house for lunch. We've become really, really good friends. And her mom has moderately severe dementia, and we have a rooster. I'm the chicken girl. And we brought the rooster into the house. My husband carried the rooster in, and I have a beautiful video of her with the rooster and touching the rooster and just connecting with the rooster. And so the sessions are short. I'm making all of the decisions. I'm not expecting that person to make any of the decisions other than whether they're going to engage with that particular task that I present in front of them. And most of the activities are going to be kind of coincidental or experimental, or even just a cause and effect type of thing. So, for example, what are activities that have cause and effect? Throwing a ball, a balloon toss, just taking a thing full of paint in a balloon and throwing it on the floor and seeing it spatter. Taking balloon bubbles, blowing bubbles, and killing the bubbles, smacking the bubbles, breaking the bubbles, anything that just has a cause and an effect. And those are great, great activities to still engage somebody living with severe dementia in, that has cause and effect, cracking an egg, whipping an egg, just, fun things like switching on a light and there's, a colored lights in the room, or anything just that is unique and different in the way that it's a one-step thing and you have a result. They are great, great ways of bringing somebody who has severe dementia back into engaging in their environment. And earlier on in the first two episodes, we talked about understanding what is the purpose behind the task, behind activity engagement. When we get to a severe dementia level, what we are trying to do is make meaningful connections with the person, and we are trying to make memories for ourselves. Because one of the biggest tragedies, in my opinion, related to dementia is that we are grieving, and rightfully so. We are losing a person that we love, but we would grieve whether they died suddenly, or we would grieve whether somebody is slowly passing away with cancer or another condition that changes them, right? Is that we don't take photos, we don't take videos, and we don't do those activities because it hurts us in the moment. But I encourage you, dear listener, to please consider taking videos, making photos, actively working on creating these moments that you can treasure later on, because eventually the hurt will go away, and then you'll be able to look back on that period of your life and the experiences that you went through and reflect that they too formed you into the person that you are, and that they were there for your good and for your sanctification and for your growth in your Christian journey. So I encourage you, really do take videos and take photos. I know it's hard. It's hard to look back on them. I understand that. I get that. But don't be afraid of making those memories and taking those photos. So those were the three buckets of understanding dementia: the mild, the moderate, and the severe dementia. So the second one kind of spoke about a little bit here, because severe dementia is a little bit different. We don't have quite as many limitless activities that we can engage in, and it's definitely something we have to think about a little bit more in order to be creative and come up with suggestions and ideas. But now we're going to talk about how to physically actually engage somebody in a meaningful activity when they have severe dementia. Now, the first thing I want you to picture in your mind is you are trying to have a conversation with your husband, and both of you have nothing wrong with you. And you can be here, I'm sitting at my computer, and my husband can be in the other room. And if the door were open and I wasn't busy videotaping and recording this podcast, I could yell at him, we could have a conversation, and we don't see one another at all. But I know that he is there, and I can hear him, so I can converse with him. Somebody living with a severe dementia, their awareness of their entire world has shrunk down to about 12 inches in front of them. So not even a arm's length. Where I'm sitting, I'm now an arm's length away from my computer. It's not even that. It's more, think about how you would hold your hymnal in church, or how you would hold something to read. That is their sphere of awareness. So if you are trying to engage somebody living with severe dementia in an activity, and you are talking to them from across the room, they are not going to engage with you. They may hear that you're talking, but they may not have an awareness that you're actually speaking with them and that they have to participate or engage. If you want to engage with a person with severe dementia, you need to be between 12 and 18 inches away. So about the distance of a book or a hymnal when you're trying to read. And we really, really want to focus on their retained abilities, which are all going to mostly be the sensory stuff. Can they feel? Can they taste? Can they smell? Can they touch? So the retained abilities are very sensory in nature. So activities that you are using things with your senses are going to be more impactful, and they may be very fleeting, but it could be as simple as a smell that they used to love, or a taste of something that they were very fond of, or even just lotion that has some smell to it that they can smell and touch as they're rubbing it in on themselves. So we want to make truly, truly, truly sure that these activities are really cause and effect, and we keep it down to one simple step. We do not focus on the result of a task, we focus on an incidental result, right? So an incidental result would be something like watching a fireworks go off and hearing the sound, unless it scares the person, which that's a whole nother conversation. But it was just something that I could think of related to Memorial Day real quick as we were talking here. So really, really consider making sure that when you're engaging somebody with severe dementia in activities, that they are short, that they are cause and effect, and that you are within 12 inches away from them. The third thing that we've been talking about in this entire series is how to minimize the symptoms of severe dementia through activity engagement. And in the previous episode, so if you haven't listened to the previous episode, I spoke a little bit about that there really are two extremes related to activity and activity engagement. And that is, the one is the person is not at all being engaged in their environment because somebody is not walking alongside them and encouraging them and facilitating that for them, because they have lost the ability to do that themselves, or they are so overwhelmed and from too much activity and too much going on. And it could be as simple as the television is on in the background, or the radio or the news or something is playing in the background, and their brain is not able to filter that information out. And so they get wild and woolly, and we've tuned out that TV. We can't even hear it anymore. But they have lost that ability and they look like they are overwhelmed. So it's typically one of those two extremes. And we want to make sure that we are not overstimulating the person that we are working with, or understimulating the person that we are working with. We may want to do lots of little 1 to 2, 3 minute interactions and really engage them, and not truly have an expectation that if the activity or the task would normally take 20 minutes to complete, that they're going to be able to do it for 20 minutes. We may only expect them to do it for 1 or 2 minutes, and then when they're completed, that they move on, we continue with the task, and then we maybe bring them back again later on. There are lots of strategies that you can do to engage the person and then minimize these symptoms of either overstimulation or understimulation, which can look like any of the what we, in inverted commas, call challenging or difficult behaviors. And I always call it in inverted commas because I recognize that a lot of these challenges are directly a result of me and the environment and the people that are helping the person living with dementia. So it's not all the disease process, it's the response to the changes in their brain. And we cause inadvertently a lot of what we see. And so part of my other platform is really trying to change the way people think about that, so that we can truly connect, because that's what it's about, is making connections with the people that we love for as long as we still are blessed to have them with us. And so that was the third point. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, which is okay, because I know I can talk a lot, and I know that it's kind of fun and those kinds of activities. But so point number 4 related to this is the same as all the others, and that is traveling well, even this Memorial Day, with a person with severe dementia. And I've referenced this episode before. It's episode 98. It's one mistake a dementia caregiver makes by not traveling. And that's my interview with Kathy Schoaf-Spear. And it was probably one of my favorite activities that I have ever done, was go on this dementia supported cruise with people all the way from a mild dementia to a severe dementia, and how much I learned in the process. One of my most fun activities that I did while we were on the cruise, because part of my role there was to do activity engagement with the people so that their family care partners could take a break. But one of my most fun engagements with 3 people who were moderate all the way through to more severe dementia was to play a game of cards with them. The 3 people, we played such a great game. There were no rules, but we all had a blast. We talked, we laughed, we joked, we bantered, and the rules changed every single hand, every single person. And because I was facilitating the participation, I was able to ensure that each one of the people actually won one of the card games. We had running jokes with card sharks and all sorts of just absolutely wonderful experiences with people who have significant difficulty engaging in their environment. Now, the card game was more in the moderate to severe dementia range, but there were 2 other gentlemen with us who were in the more severe dementia range, and we were able to play lots of other activities with them, including balloon tosses and the same card activity, but just me one-on-one. And we would just, there were no rules. We just engaged with the task. And for however long that was, we were interacting with one another and we were engaging in our environment. And it made such an impact on me, a 180-degree turn for me as a therapist who always used to tell people not to travel when they are helping somebody with severe dementia, because the thought is that we take a lot of our cues from our environment, and so therefore we're able to function better. What I observed and what I saw was the environment really didn't make that much of a difference on the way those people were functioning. And it made such a difference on their family care partners to be around other people who were experiencing the same type of struggles and the same challenges that they were. And they had a little bit better support. They made friends. Their loved ones made friends and connections with other people. Even though they don't remember it, they did in that moment make a connection with another human. And it was wonderful to see. But it does make the way we do it a little bit different. We definitely need to be very mindful of planning ahead. And, some of the people who came on the cruise, they came from Canada and from California. And yes, it took a lot to get the person there. Yes, the first couple of days were a little bit more challenging, but once that was over, it was phenomenal. And the ability to just, some of these people with severe dementia, we took on a bus tour, and watching them watch outside and looking at the beautiful things that we were seeing was you could tell the enjoyment on their face. So I really, we have to plan ahead. We have to be cognizant of that. We have to have safety strategies in place, like trackers and or two people, so one can always stay with the person and the other one can go to the bathroom themselves and we can switch out. We have to bring extra help, but we can still travel and we can still make memories. It is absolutely positively necessary, and you can do it. It's just a little harder and you have to be a little bit better prepared. But I want to encourage you, if you loved traveling, travel with the person that you love who has severe dementia and still make these memories for you. And take photos, take your kids. In the show notes for today, I have another downloadable guide or checklist of 50 more activities for people living with severe dementia that you're welcome to go grab. I made this for you with a Memorial Day theme, so I want you to go grab that. If you are interested, you can go back, and in the last two episodes, there's the mild as well as the moderate one. I divided them into 3 handouts for people, 3 different cheat sheets for people, so that you wouldn't necessarily have to get all 3, but you're certainly welcome to go grab all 3. They're there for you. They're there for you to grab. And today I am super, super excited. Before we end, I'm just going to read you something I read in my devotions this morning, and it comes from Isaiah 40, verses 28 through 31. And it says, "Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But they who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." And as I was preparing for today's episode, this really struck me deeply, deeply to the core, that he, the Lord, the everlasting God, the Lord there is the Lord God Yahweh, the Lord, the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He doesn't faint or grow weary. And we, as family caregivers, we do faint and grow weary, but he will give us power and he will give us strength. And we have to remember that even the young people faint and grow weary, and they are also to rely on God. And so I want you to remember that when you wait on the Lord, he will renew your strength. And the picture is that we will be free. We will mount up with wings like eagles, and we will run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So take that as an encouragement today when we are talking about people living with severe dementia. I recognize that you are at the end of your marathon. It hasn't happened slowly, it's happened slowly over an extended period of time, and you may be weary, and you are seen and you are valued and you are appreciated by both me as well as God, who has given you this difficult providence in your life. We appreciate all the love and care and kindness that you have expended on behalf of somebody that you love, and you are my hero. You are my hero. So I just wanted to give you guys some encouragement today, as I have to try to stop the tears welling up in my eyes, because Family caregivers of people with dementia are heroes, absolutely heroes. But check out the other two episodes that we talked about, episode 121 and episode 119, 120, and 121 is the series for Memorial Day. And as a great start to the summer, I wanted to do something special for you guys. Starting today, May the 22nd, so if you're listening to this broadcast live, starting today, May 22nd, only available for 1 week, I've put together a short mini course. It's less than 3 hours on everything related to activities, engaging people in meaningful activities. I've got some additional tools for you in there. It's super, super short and sweet. It will not take you more than 3 hours to finish. And there are some downloadable more activity guides and checklists for you in there to give you ideas and thoughts on how to actually engage a person living with dementia in meaningful activities. It is only $47. It is less than taking 4 people out to Chick-fil-A for a lunch or a dinner. But it'll give you, especially if you are struggling with activity engagement, it'll give you some practical, actionable tools and tricks and ways of choosing the right activities and make you very, very skillful and not feel like you are constantly floundering to figure it out. So go check it out. Like I said, the link is in the show notes. It is only $47 and it is only available until May the 27th. This is my flash Memorial Day sale to kick off the summer, because I know how hard it is for people to sometimes think, through the summer months, how life changes, right? The rhythm of our life changes, and it seems like there's endless time. And you might have kids or grandkids in the picture that you need to engage as well. And these will give you ideas of how you can combine the two together. So go check it out. Thank you for listening. I appreciate every single one of you. You are my heroes. And like I say in all of my episodes, may the Lord bless you and keep you. And I do pray for you every single day. I am so grateful you're here. And if you like these episodes, please share them with somebody who would benefit from them. And I will see you in the next episode, which is going to be talking about timelines and stages of dementia. So we'll keep on this theme. So go check out the Flash Memorial Day sale, and I will see you next episode. Do you feel alone and isolated and need a little bit more help and support in this journey? Sign up for our next Ask the Dementor monthly meetup, where we will come together. Less than 10 people are allowed to sign up at a time, so we can have fellowship, where we can answer questions, where you can get some Christian guidance and just an awareness that you are not alone on this journey. I really want you to be able to connect with me. I want to be able to answer your specific questions. So if you're struggling, if you're tired, if you're overwhelmed, if you're stressed, if you just need a little bit of help, sign up for the next Ask the Dementor monthly meetup. The link is in the show notes below. Thanks for joining me today, Success Seeker. I pour my heart and soul into this program to serve you. You can serve me by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. And join our free Facebook group, Dementia Caregiving for Families. It's a positive and proactive space to navigate dementia caregiving together. Get practical tools and find support, but without the verbal vomit. Be a part of our community where we seek to find peace of mind and ease despite the dementia diagnosis. So join today and see you next time as our flight takes off.